Fitzy's back to winning ways on the European Tour, and in this swing analysis, we're going to break down some of the moves that he makes that have allowed him to become one of the longest hitters on tour, really, from probably one of the shortest. His clubhead speed's gone from about 108 miles an hour to 120-ish, which is pretty impressive. And also some of the things that he's probably looking to work on with his new coach, Mark Blackburn. So let's start with setup. You'll note Fitzy has a very strong left-hand grip here. He's got a nice bit of foot flare in this lead foot, which can really help him. And then from down the line, very, very nice kind of alignment there. Neutral spine, little bit of knee bend, and then those arms just hang outside the shoulders, which you'll see with a lot of great players with driver. Now, the first thing that I like to look at is, do we have a trigger move? This creates a lot of athleticism and create a lot of speed and power. What you'll note with Fitzy is that trail leg's going to work towards the ball. He's going to have a little bit of kind of pressure in the cheek here and a little bit of rotation. So watch how that trail leg moves forward and watch that cheek, how he kind of squeezes it. It just kind of preloads the body and preloads the tissue. So if you look from face on, you can really kind of see that motion of those legs or the trail leg working forward. It's just a trigger move and it helps a lot with speed and power and creating some rhythm and tempo as well. Now Fitzy's got a very, very unique swing. What's going to happen initially, that club head's going to work a little bit outside and then, see, there's sort of a bit amount outside and then drags way, way inside here. If we get into this position, you'll note how much those hands I've moved inside. If we look from this angle as well, you can really see it. That shaft is very, very much behind him. It's not a common move we see, but he matches it up really well in the downswing. What you will note, that club head is nice and square to the spine angle, so that's nice. But I think a lot of this is caused by, he's got a very kind of flat shoulder plane and flat hip tilt there. You'd see a lot of guys working that lead shoulder a little bit more down in the takeaway. And then let's bring him up to this halfway back position. You'll note, look how flat his arm plane is. It's very much around his body. You'd see guys more in this center of the chest position. And then look at that shaft. It's very, very, very flat. Again, you'd see most guys a little bit more pitched up here. But what you will see is, look at that amount of rotation that he's got in his body. He's really moved that left knee towards the ball. Ton of rotation, which is where he matches it up in the downswing. So let's bring him up to the top. I'll analyze this very much statically and then more dynamically, which I like to do. And then let's get him up to the top here. You'll note he's raised that left heel, something I bet you he's worked on with Sasho McKenzie. Very, very good way of creating a longer swing length. And also it just allows that foot to work down more and create a little bit more force through the ground. What you'll note is he's kind of recovered that position of working inside by then picking the hands up a little bit, and he gets in a pretty good position here. Well, it's very good, should I say. He's got a little bit of cup in that lead wrist because his grip is very strong. He has to get that cup just to neutralize that face. That face is still a little bit shut there, but because he's got that cup, it's just allowed him to create more of a square club face position. If his lead wrist was flat, then that club face would be very, very much shut, which would cause a lot of issues. So let's look at this more dynamically, and this is where the speed occurs for Fitzy. What you'll notice, the first move is that left foot, boom, down. And you can see, look through kind of this lower body, look how much twisting and torquing's occurring there. You can see it on his shirt, and what you'll see as well is, look at the hands and the club. Look how much it's kind of moving there and shallowing. That's creating a ton of torque on that club head, which is going to allow for more club head speed, or torque around the shaft, should I say. What you'll see from down the line, look how he just gets in a very kind of textbook position whereby he's got into that kind of Rory-esque squat position. That trail elbow's lower than the lead. That club head's nice and shallow, and that club head is in a really nice position there. So let's bring him a few more frames down. Again, in this pre-delivery position, just very much a textbook position now. You know, almost looks like Rory in a lot of cases. He's got, maintain that kind of spine angle. That shaft's in a very nice position, almost pointing down at the ball. He's got that right elbow below the left, and the shaft's kind of in the middle of his forearms. Love that position. But what I really love is this move coming down. So look how much lag he's created there. That's just going to be unloaded at the ball. You can see how much that right elbow's tucked into his side here. It's nicely in front of the body there. Really nice position. And then from here, watch this. Watch this. Watch how much space he creates. What he's doing here is, because at the top of the downswing, should I say, he's pushed so hard into the ground with that left foot, it's going to now push back, and he's creating tons and tons of space in this downswing motion. So if we bring him down, and then look, he forces that foot up off the ground, and look, it's moved a good few inches. And this is something that, if you want speed, you can really do this with driver. With irons, less so, because you're looking at more precise distance control, but look how much that left hip works back. Now, I just want to show you from this angle. He's probably not doing it as aggressively because he is on the golf course here, or maybe it's because this is a few months previous, 2 or 3 months, so he might have been working on this move. But what I want to show you is, I know in the comments you're going to say the camera's moving, that's fine. So let me do a better job. Draw a line in his butt here. Yes, the camera's moving, but it'll give you an idea, because you can really see how much that left hip clears and how much space is created. Golfers, if you struggle, a lot of the times your arms get jammed up and you don't create that space here. You can see how much space is created. And I think that's something he's probably worked on a lot with his coach, Mark Blackburn. Because when you've got space, you've got so much time. And just look how that foot's really come up and back off the ground to create that space. And it makes it a ton easier to create a lot of speed as well. So then after this, it's kind of a precursor to whatever's happened earlier in the swing. But let's just look at his follow through. You'll see how he really extends those arms down the target line, and look again, that foot's moved even further back. So let's draw a line on his heel there, and then look where it was in this downswing position. It's moved so much back, and obviously these are two different swings, but what you're seeing as well is that lead foot's actually working this way, and it's moved slightly back as well. That's going to help him get a little bit of launch on the golf ball. I think Fitz traps it a lot. If you look from the TrackMan numbers at the top, he's only 1.4 up on it, which Rory can get 5, 6 up on it. That's why he can hit real bombs. So maybe he's working a little bit on that with his new coach, Mark Blackburn. You'll see how now that right hand starts to wrap over the left and loads of extension down. I know he's worked kind of with Sasho McKenzie on speed, of feeling that body works to the left, and then that club head's almost throwing out. So it's almost like, for him, it's a feel with the body of a fade, but the arms and hands work out with a draw. It's a great way of creating speed and power. So just to kind of reiterate that, what he's doing is, and you can take a lot from this, you're pushing back with the hips, which is create more of a fade feeling, but then feeling like swinging out to the right and really kind of releasing that club head. It's a weird kind of feeling, but I can guarantee you, if you do it right, it can really throw a little bit more speed up there. So let's see here. You can see how much space is created there, how much rotation. You can see how he's kind of got a little bit of crease in that trail foot, just because he's kind of pushed off so hard, and you can see it from here. He pushes off, so you kind of get a little bit of pressure back. Justin Thomas is probably the guy that does it most on the tour. You can see here how it's very much textbook in the downswing. See how arms exit nicely. Lots of you can see lots of that backhand, because he's kind of with that grip at address. You can see how strong that grip is. Where we go. There you can see it's kind of strong in this and more neutral with the right hand, and that's why you get this kind of position in here where you can see a lot of that back of the right hand. but you can see how snug his hands are through the ball. Yeah, and look how close they are. I love this position, and then just comes through to the finish, and you can see how much he's kind of, compared to this one, look how he's kind of stayed very, still pushed back a lot, but look at the difference here. I know the camera moves, but you can really see how he's creating a ton of space. You can just see from his body position how much he's finishing over this side on that left side, and like I say, it just creates a lot of space. I know Mark Blackburn is TPI and works a lot with the TPI, so I think this is what TPI are really keen on, is creating space, and you can really see that with Fitzy here. He's just got loads and loads of time and space there. That's ultimately what's led him to win the Dubai ending tournament. I can't think what it's called, but I love some of the changes he's made, and I think you can take a lot home from some of the changes in terms of speed and power. And also, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect in the backswing if you match it up, because the downswing, if we look from here, looks pretty orthodox. It's just this initial takeaway move, but he kind of works it round, up, and then works it back on the downswing. Love this motion. Love some of this kind of speed things he's worked on. I think a lot of people can take a lot from Fitzy's swing and also his demeanor. You know, he's very kind of technical, works on things methodically, and I think a lot of people could take a lot from that. But I love this motion, love what he's doing with Mark Blackburn. Any questions, drop them in the comment section.